Someone in your life makes you feel like you are never quite enough. No matter what you give, it disappears without a trace. And when something goes wrong, somehow it is always your fault. What if that was not an accident? This is not about bad luck. This is not about miscommunication. This is about a psychological pattern, centuries old, with a name: narcissism. And today, we are going to decode exactly how it works inside a person's mind. By the end of this video, you will understand how narcissists think. You will understand what they feel and what they cannot feel. And you will understand precisely how they cause damage without ever seeming to try. Welcome to Mind Decoded, where we go inside the psychology behind human behavior. No surface explanations, no simple answers, just the hidden mechanics of the mind brought into the light. In this video, we will cover 5 core dimensions of narcissism: how they are built, how they think, how they feel, or rather, what they cannot feel, how they draw people in, and finally, how they destroy the people closest to them. Narcissism is not a choice. It is a construction. It is built, usually in childhood, when the environment fails to meet a child's core emotional needs. This can happen 2 ways: through extreme neglect or through extreme overindulgence. Both produce the same wound. Psychologists call this a failure of healthy narcissistic development. Every child needs a mirror, a caregiver who reflects back. You are seen. You are valued. You exist. When that mirror is absent or distorted, the child learns to build their own. That internal mirror becomes a false self, a constructed identity, grandiose, invulnerable, and superior, built to protect the terrified child underneath. The narcissist you encounter as an adult is that armor, not the person, the armor. Now we enter the narcissistic mind. And the first thing you need to understand is this: they do not process reality the way you do. Their mind runs on a fixed, unyielding belief: I am exceptional, and the world must confirm it. Psychologists call this cognitive distortion, a systematic bias in how information is filtered. Anything that confirms their greatness is absorbed immediately. Anything that challenges it is rejected, reframed, or blamed on someone else. Imagine a person who looks in every mirror they pass, but can only see what they want to see. They are not lying when they tell you they are extraordinary. They genuinely cannot see anything else. That is not confidence. That is a sealed system. Research published in the journal Psychological Bulletin analyzed over 500 studies on narcissism. The findings were consistent across cultures and decades. Narcissists score significantly lower on cognitive empathy, the ability to accurately read what another person is experiencing. Not lower than average, significantly lower. Now we reach the part most people get wrong. They assume narcissists feel nothing, but that is not accurate. Narcissists feel intensely, dangerously, constantly. The problem is what they feel and what they cannot. Narcissists experience shame intensely, but they cannot tolerate it. So it is immediately converted into rage, blame, or contempt. They experience fear of abandonment acutely, but express it as control or aggression. They feel grandiosity, a near constant high that requires constant external feeding. Think of narcissistic supply as a drug. The grandiose self needs constant doses of admiration, status, and validation just to maintain baseline function. When the supply is cut, withdrawal begins. And withdrawal looks like rage, punishment, or pursuit.
Now we reach the mechanism that traps most people, and few ever see coming. Narcissists, in the beginning, do not repel. They attract, powerfully, deliberately, and with extraordinary skill.
Psychologists call the opening phase love bombing. Intense, overwhelming, and idealized attention, targeted at whoever the narcissist has selected. You are made to feel like the most important person in their world, because, for this moment, you are. But love bombing is not love. It is investment. The narcissist is building a dependency, making themselves indispensable before the real dynamic begins. By the time the idealization ends, you have already reorganized your world around them. Once the dependency is established, the second phase begins. Psychologists call it devaluation. The same person who called you extraordinary now signals, subtly at first, that you are not enough. Devaluation uses specific tools: gaslighting, silent treatment, and intermittent reinforcement. Gaslighting makes you doubt your own perception of reality. The silent treatment creates terror of abandonment. Intermittent reinforcement, random reward, makes you work harder for moments of approval that come less and less. The psychological impact on the target is severe and well documented. Studies show long-term exposure to narcissistic abuse correlates with anxiety, depression, and complex post-traumatic stress. The victim often does not know they are being harmed. They only know they feel less. The final phase is discard. When the narcissist has extracted maximum supply, or when you begin to see through them, they end the relationship, often abruptly, often cruelly, and almost always without the closure you need. There is a particular kind of grief that follows narcissistic relationships. It is not just grief for the person, it is grief for the version of yourself you gave to them, and grief for the love that was never what you believed it was. But there is something that makes this pattern especially dangerous. After discard, many narcissists return. Psychologists call this the Hoover maneuver, named after the vacuum. They pull you back in, just enough to begin the cycle again. Not all narcissists look the same. There are two primary expressions. The grandiose narcissist is loud, visible, and openly entitled. The covert narcissist is quiet, self-pitying, and plays the victim. Both cause identical damage, only the delivery is different. People often ask, can a narcissist change? The research is cautious, but honest. Without sustained, voluntary, long-term psychotherapy, genuine change is rare. Not impossible, rare. And no one is obligated to wait and find out. One behavior above all others reveals the narcissist clearly: narcissistic rage. When their self-image is threatened, even by something minor, the response is disproportionate and often terrifying. This is the wound underneath the armor activated. One of the most painful questions survivors ask is, why did I stay? The answer is in the neuroscience: intermittent reinforcement, unpredictable reward, activates the same dopamine pathways as addiction. You were not weak. You were chemically bonded to uncertainty.
So, how do you recognize this pattern before it takes hold? There are consistent early markers. Watch for excessive flattery that arrives before they truly know you. Watch for a rapid push for closeness, exclusivity, or commitment. And watch for how they speak about everyone who came before you.
Here is the deepest truth about the narcissist. Underneath every act of control, cruelty, or manipulation, there is a person in profound, unacknowledged pain. Understanding that does not make the behavior acceptable. It makes it comprehensible.
Consider Maya, 32, a high-functioning professional who had always been told she was too sensitive. She met Daniel at a work event. Within 3 weeks, he told her she was unlike anyone he had ever known. She felt seen for the first time in years.
6 months later, Daniel criticized her in front of colleagues. When she raised it that night, he said it never happened. She began to doubt her memory, then her judgment, then herself. Within a year, she had withdrawn from friends and reorganized her entire life around managing his moods.
Maya eventually found a therapist who named what she had experienced. Hearing the word narcissistic abuse did not feel like an accusation. It felt like a light being turned on in a room she had been sitting in the dark.
3 lessons to carry with you. First, narcissism is not a choice. It is a wound. Understanding this protects you from their manipulation without requiring you to excuse it.
Second, the cycle of idealize, devalue, and discard is a pattern, not a reflection of your worth. You did not earn the discard. You were always going to receive it. The target does not determine the cycle. The narcissist does.
Third, you cannot fix, heal, or love a narcissist into wholeness. That is not your job. Your only job is to protect the version of yourself that still exists, and to give that person the same attention you were giving them.
If this video named something you have been living inside, that recognition matters. It is the beginning of seeing clearly. And seeing clearly is where everything changes. If Mind Decoded helped you understand something today, consider subscribing. Every week, we go deeper into the hidden psychology behind human behavior. The kind of knowledge that changes how you see yourself and everyone around you. Next time on Mind Decoded, we pull back the curtain on the invisible. How manipulators control you without you ever knowing it's happening. It is closer than you think. Understanding the darkness in others always begins with the courage to look.